Hello! Welcome back to the Mario Marathon. Today I'll be talking about Super Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo. You might notice, I got a little bit of a change of location today. That's because I moved. Looks pretty nice for, freshly moved place, right? Nice and together. You'd think that, wouldn't you? Anyway, that's why I haven't posted in quite a while. So, I'm hoping to, go back to the more consistent uploads, but, hope is a fickle thing. When Super Mario Bros. Released in 1985, it was a huge deal graphically. It was such an advanced game at the time, at least as far as home consoles are concerned. Honestly, the same could be said for the Famicom and NES in general, as Atari, Intellivision, and ColecoVision were the standard just a year before the Famicom came out. Games were getting more and more impressive at an incredibly rapid pace. Nowadays, when you look at a game that released 10 years ago, let's use, say, The Last of Us as an example for no reason in particular. Graphics and game design have improved, sure, but it's just slight iterations on what worked before. The Last of Us remake looks really nice, yeah, but it's not like the original aged poorly at all, right? But if we rolled the clock all the way back to, say, 1993, during the Super Nintendo and Genesis era, games at the time were vibrant and pixelated beauties. Then you look 10 years prior and the difference is night and day. So why does a 10-year difference mean a lot back then and mean absolutely nothing now? The key factor isn't time, like everyone always says. The key factor is changing technology. The fact of the matter is that games evolved incredibly rapidly as a new art form from the 70s until the early 2000s. So hey, here's Super Mario Bros., one of the most important games of all time, but it's stuck on now inferior hardware. So Nintendo thinks, why don't we show how far we've come and remake it from the ground up on our fancy new Super Famicom console? But it wasn't just the first game put on here. It was Mario 2, Mario 3, and for the first time outside of Japan, the Lost Levels, all put in one awesome package for the Super Nintendo. And so was born Super Mario Extravaganza, or as it later officially be named, Super Mario All-Stars. Super Mario All-Stars was released in Japan as Super Mario Collection for the Super Famicom on July 14th, 1993.
He's back, he's here, he's Mario. No, he's the new and improved Mario in Super Mario All-Stars. So much Mario, it's a Mario smorgasbord. It's all the wigged out Mario Brothers adventures you ever played and then some. But this is juiced up 16-bit only on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Mario. So it's bigger Mario, better Mario, in your face Mario. It's Raccoon Mario, Mario throwing fireballs, Mario hurling turnips, Mario negotiating an arms deal. Okay, maybe not. It's Mario like you've never seen him. What's 2 plus 2 Mario? What's the capital of Ohio? Mario. You're gonna live, breathe, eat, sleep Mario in Super Mario All-Stars. 4 complete Mario games, including the never-seen Lost Levels. You can't get more Mario than this, which is why the best played here.
The release for this game was a kind of celebration. If the series wasn't so young at this point, you'd think it were like an anniversary title or something. Look at this charming Japanese commercial. It has all the characters showing up at this gala event to watch this big movie, which is gameplay of this game. They're Let's Play fans. You think this was a reference to the Mario movie? It did come out the same year. Anyway, the box art in the West has Mario as a magician, magically summoning all 4 games. This was another outfit that returned in Odyssey. The Japanese branding featured this gold coin look, reminiscent of the Lost Levels box. I don't know, the branding of this game just made it really feel like something special. Starting up the collection, you're greeted with a cute little title screen. It starts with silhouettes of a lot of the Mario characters chatting, but after a bit the lights come on. And the sound effect when you press start... Love that shit. There's this nice little version of the Mario 1 theme that plays as you select the game. They even digitized the box arts. The Japanese version has its own box arts too, I love it. Each and every game in the collection also gives you the ability to save, right there in the pause menu, which in itself is a huge upgrade. Originally, you were expected to finish these games in one go with only warp zones to help. Okay, so I already reviewed all 4 of these games, right? So what's the point? These are very faithful remakes after all. However, there are some changes, of course, so I thought, hey, maybe I can point out these differences. So yeah, less of a review and more of a version differences video. I mean, are these really supposed to be the best way to play these games like Nintendo intended? Why doesn't Nintendo re-release these versions as much as the originals? Let's find out, ooh! Starting off with the original Super Mario Bros., the title screen has music now. It's an arrangement of the Underwater theme, which, if you recall, Mario 2 did a ragtimey version of the same song. I like that this is like a cute little tradition now. The graphics for Mario 1 are Well, they're kinda hard for me to look at objectively, if I'm being honest. Growing up as a Newgrounds kid, I've just looked at these sprites so fucking much over the years, I think I'm just sick of them. But maybe not, because you could say the same about Mario World and Sonic Advance, and I like those sprites quite a lot. Maybe this remake is a little ugly. I mean, the sky is just more dreary, the fucking bushes look like Play-Doh spaghetti, and the question mark blocks look they look like honey candies. I don't know, man. I just don't like how this looks, how the Goombas look, how the mushrooms look. It's all subjective. I just don't like it. I like the smiling clouds though, and it's kinda cute how Mario and Luigi have their overall and shirt colors swapped, just like their official art looked like at the time. Funny thing though, in some commercials for the game, Mario's sprite had his modern colors, so that was probably changed later in development. Also, another cute thing I appreciate is that Luigi has his own sprite sheet now. Mario World was actually the last Mario platformer, and as far as I can remember, the last game to just have Luigi as a recolor of Mario. And in case you were curious, Fire Luigi now has a color scheme of his own. The fashion-stealing bastard. It's kinda cool how the visuals are modernized in some ways, but kept the same in others. I already mentioned how Mario and Luigi have their classic colors, but also the Koopas are back to being quadruped like the original. And the Fire Flowers retain their classic design as opposed to the tulips from World and Land 2. But also, the mushrooms are all now their new design, and the clouds also now have eyes. It's just a little thing, but I appreciate that it's not revising history while still homogenizing the Mario series. They kept the old Piranha Plant color scheme though, and that's kinda strange. All of the sound effects are updated, of course, a lot of which are taken directly from Super Mario World. When you make a turn, you make the burning rubber sound, which originally wasn't added until Lost Levels. There's a sound effect for climbing vines to the coin heavens too. The sound effect for jumping on certain enemies went from this bouncy cartoon to now this gross, sticky... Something neat is that when you're underground, all the sound effects are now echoed. They didn't have to do that. The music is, as always, pretty good. They add depth to these original tracks with new instruments. I like that the ground theme now has this part that sounds like a steel drum. It fits the Mario series a lot. I like the steel drum, it's a cool-ass instrument. The underground theme now plays the same remix seen in Mario 3's remake, with the cool drum beat. The water theme sounds very spacey, but the fucking castle theme is way cooler. It sounds a lot more menacing. They also gave the Bowser fights a new track, making them feel more like boss fights. There's a more intense version of it used for the final boss, and when you beat the game and save Peach, they use the more extended ending music that wouldn't be seen until the Lost Levels. When entering a bonus level, they now have their own track. Originally, it's either the Underground theme if Underground, or the Starman theme if it were a Coin Heaven. There's also a giant disembodied head of Mario in the background saying bonus, and it even changes to Luigi if you're playing as him. Oh, and this is a really tiny thing, but in the final level, there's this water section that changes the cinematic, scary castle theme to the calming water theme. Yeah, they changed it, so now even in that section it continues the classic castle music. Pretty good change. A cool thing here is that each level type has its own background, and a lot of them now have unique tile sets. For example, in the original game, backgrounds and the ground itself were all basically the same for overworld levels, and any differences were sprite alterations. For example, some levels had the green trees colored white to imply snow. Well, now there's entire snow levels to set the environments apart. I meant it when I said I didn't like the aesthetic of this game, and of course I still love the simplistic charm of the original, but for the most part, these backgrounds are just phenomenal. Yeah, the sky is dreary, but look at the variety here. There's pillars of an ancient Goomba civilization. 4-1 just has the normal overworld background, but there's a forest added. I don't know, little things like that just go a long way to making the world feel more lived in. I'm not asking for Mario to have Elder Scrolls lore. I just appreciate when they do put thought into this stuff. It's cool to see. A thing I found weird though, speaking of those Goomba pillars, is they're exclusively seen in one background in particular, this desert one. The original game didn't have any desert levels, so I guess this is trying to make the game show more sides of the Mushroom Kingdom like Mario 3. The thing is, these levels are only seen in the Cheep Cheep Bridge levels, 2-3 and 7-3. These levels both come directly after water levels, so my interpretation was that you swam through the water in one level, and then ran over the bridge going over the water in the next, which is why there's Cheep Cheeps jumping around. But now there's a desert, so why is there such a big ocean full of a ton of undersea life in the desert? It could be a huge fucking oasis, I guess. So yeah, my critique is that it goes against my headcanon. Moving on. When you go into the castle at the end of the level, Mario gives a little V for victory peace sign like in Mario World. And also, when you go into the big castle at the end of the third level in each world, Mario goes through the middle door instead of the left one. Riveting differences here, I know. Hitting Bowser with fireballs actually causes him to react, and hey look, he still turns into a minion, so that was intentional in the original. Cool. He also freaks the fuck out as he falls into the lava like a Wile E. Coyote short, I love it. The Toad you save now has a cute little animation where you save him from the inside of a sack. Yes, Bowser fucking sacked the Toads and left them in there. That's canon. It's only a matter of time before Bowser starts torturing people with plastic bags over their heads. Actually, the number of Toads that pop out correspond with the world you're on, like 1 Toad for World 1, 2 for World 2, etc. They also all have their own animation. It's not the same in every world. The ending is completely different, with Peach now in a cage and a close-up of her kissing Mario and him blushing. Pretty cute. Fun fact, if you're small Mario, it doesn't look right with the close-up sprites, so Peach throws you a mushroom. Or no? No, the fucking mushroom falls from the sky. That's so weird. Nothing happens if you're Fire Mario, but it's probably way hotter. Alright, minor change, lightning round, let's go! Bloopers are pink, bullet bills have this weird arm animation now. Koopa shells spin when you kick them. Hitting a bunch of enemies with one shell gives you 1-ups like in World. When you go down pipes, Mario gives the V for victory. One of the colors when you're invincible is the NES palette. I don't know if that's intentional, but it looks pretty cool. Lava has a bubbling animation now. The live screen has this thumbnail for every level, and the life counter functions normally with no crowns or letters. You can't pause cutscenes anymore, and this block in 8.3 isn't hidden in the background anymore, and that sucks. Starting off the gameplay section, let's first highlight what they didn't add. They didn't add the, the big bounce-off enemies mechanic. No one ever mentions that in reviewing Mario 1, but I'm overcompensating by being the YouTuber to bring it up ad nauseum. Also, when you get hit as Fire Mario, just as the original in Mario World as well as the Japanese version of Mario 3, you just shrink back to Small Mario. Not surprised or anything, but it's just interesting. If you didn't know, in the international version of Mario 3, they made it so getting hit as a Tier 3 power-up, you shrink back to Tier 2, which is Super Mario always. This later became series standard. Again, not shocked or anything, because that was the standard back in the original, but it's still interesting to me and worth mentioning. The screen still doesn't scroll back when you go to the left. I don't think that would have been too game-breaking, but whatever. The whirlpools that suck you in and the water levels are still invisible, and I hate that. Multiplayer now works like how it did in Mario 3 and World, with you switching off both each level and each death, as opposed to just each death. Every time I play Mario 1 with one of the bros, someone is always sitting out there bored, because the other person is just not dying. So that fixes that. Breaking blocks as Super Mario feels fucking weird. In the original, you bounce back down the same frame as it starts to break, whereas now you keep going up for a little bit. I know this is extremely nitpicky and doesn't really affect gameplay that much, but man, that just feels so weird. The impact is just slaughtered, you feel like you're breaking them like paper. I also would have appreciated a life counter being on the main HUD instead of just the life screen, but hey, whatever. You now start out with 5 lives instead of 3. There's now extra blocks at the exit pipes at the water levels to prevent a glitch in the original where you get trapped, and a lot of other glitches were of course fixed, one of which being the minus world, which I previously incorrectly said that might be possible here. It's not. You could still jump over the flagpole though. It doesn't result in an endless loop of nothing anymore, but you can do it. The potaboos, which apparently are called lava bubbles now, I didn't get that memo. But anyway, they jump way higher than in the original, look at that. 1-3 in hard mode adds bullet bills, so now it's just 5-3. Oh, and time is converted into points in castle levels now. Apparently that wasn't a thing in the original, but I have never noticed because who cares about points in Mario? And that does Super Mario Bros. I think it's definitely a decent remake over the original. I'd still recommend the original, but if someone were to choose to play this instead, they wouldn't be making an awful choice or anything. And with that, let's hop right on over to the Lost Levels. Like I said before, this is the first time the Lost Levels came out of Japan. Actually, this game is the reason us Westerners call it the Lost Levels, as it was simply the Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2, or Super Mario Bros. For Super players before. Lost Levels took over a significant portion of this game's marketing outside of Japan, and fans were excited for sure, but a lot were miffed. The whole Doki Doki Panic thing is overstated now, but at the time it was a punch to the face. Video games come out in Japan, but not here? It's a small taste of what we now know, at least speaking from a North American perspective. Anyways, let's get into our changes from the Famicom Disk System original. I'm not really going to have a lot to say because, as you can see, pretty much all the changes from Mario 1 carry over. You'd be forgiven for thinking all the games in this collection will look the same, like a Crash Insane Trilogy or something, but actually each game retains its own visual identity, all except for the Lost Levels. Makes sense. Lost Levels was already like 98% identical visually, but it is kind of weird. I think the biggest change that makes this version different from the original is that now, when getting a game over, you restart the level instead of the world. That goes a long way towards making the game a lot more forgivable for sure. And hey, another different, new title theme. It's also a remix of the underwater theme, now sounding peaceful and dreamlike. This is of course juxtaposed against the entire fucking game, but hey, it lulls you into a false sense of security. And now that you're just beginning to get comfortable, wham! The greatest Geneva Convention violation known to man. I mean Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, ladies and gentlemen, and NBs. Again, it really seems like this underwater theme thing is like a tradition for the series around this time, excluding World. A ton of levels that actually were snowy in the original aren't anymore, literally the opposite of the snow in Mario 1's remake. It's a weird choice. They did, however, add snow to C1, so I guess all hope is not yet lost. The ending is different, now just a repeat of the Mario 1 ending. No door, no blue haze, and no floating toads. When Peach kisses you, Mario has heart eyes instead of just blushing, so, you know, it's different enough. Also, when you beat World D, Mario's all covered in kisses. It's cute that they made them different, even if I never noticed any of them being different. When you game over in World 9, it just shows the normal game over screen, so no cute little message from Mario. That's so disappointing, I wanted Mario to talk to me. World 9 also isn't just a one-life world like its whole gimmick was in the original. You keep your original lives. And finally, the Goombas in World A through D are replaced with Buzzy Beetles, making it more of an analog to the second quest in Mario 1 in a way. Bowser's brother is not blue anymore, so it really does now feel like just a random-ass lazy Bowser encounter in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. And that's it. Like I said, not much, but the real heavy changes come from the next two games. So without further ado, Mario 2! While the game's marketing in the West and Europe was all about this fancy new Lost Levels, in Japan, they highlighted something else. Well, yes, Japan got Doki Doki Panic, the Mario reskin was never seen in Japan until Mario All-Stars, which titled the game Super Mario USA. A year later, they'd even go back and release Mario USA for the Famicom. So while the rest of the world got this huge milestone in localization history, Japan got a nice little treat, a window into the Western gaming world. It's nothing huge on their end, but still, Mario All-Stars was something of a cultural bridge, finally bringing both Mario 2s together for all fans, and that's worth celebrating. Starting the game up, there's of course the title screen. It's pretty much exactly the same as in the original. The little pictures of the main characters aren't monochrome anymore, which kinda goes against the old-timey aesthetic, but that's a nitpick. You'll find that this version of Mario 2 is incredibly faithful visually. It's literally just the original, but in 16-bit. It doesn't offend me like the Mario 1-1 does. 1-1. That's a level. Anyway, I'm not saying that it has to be exactly the same. I like remakes that look different. I just wasn't a fan of the Mario 1 look, and this Mario 2 look is beautiful. There's new backgrounds with palm trees in the overworlds, brown rocks in the caves, and a little oasis in the desert. This remake just breathes so much life into Subcon, it's insane. The boss arenas are even built out of NNB blocks, like that one level in Land 2. There's so much visual identity to this remake, I love it. There's these rooms where you get a key and the Phanto chase you, right? And in the background, there's this big Phanto, like, statue or something. And when you get the key, dude, the big Phanto's fucking eyes light up! It's so scary! It's awesome. Shit like that is so cool. Birdos no longer have the crystal balls in their stomachs. They, like, spit it out when they die. I always thought the crystal bellies looked so fucking weird in the original, so good change. A lot of the NES's weird color palette wonkiness is fixed. For example, some green Birdos had to be gray, but now they're green like they should be. Mario and Luigi are back to having their modern colors, and their sprites look phenomenal, I might add. Luigi again has his purple overalls, which I just love. Peach and Toad are updated from the original. Peach now has blonde hair instead of brunette, and Toad is normal Toad colors instead of blue. Buck and Berry is no longer canon to Mario 2. Sad face. 5.2 uses the overworld music instead of the underground. The life hexagons are now hearts. Using Warp Zones now has a totally new sequence using the Super Nintendo's wacky effects and having new music. When you're small, your head is no longer disproportionately huge, so that sucks for fans of stupid cartoon shit like myself. The music doesn't change to the mini-boss theme when in a final platform challenge, like in the original. 4.2 now starts underground, and some night levels are now in the day, and some day levels are now in the night. Oh, and when you charge a jump, there's a sound effect for it. That's all I got for visuals and sound. As for gameplay, it again feels entirely faithful. You still throw turnips, Peach still floats, and Luigi's still got his feet coated in Astroglide. The only notable changes I found were in its lives and slot machine minigame. For lives, you once again start off with 5 lives instead of 3, and now you have infinite continues instead of just 2. I think the biggest change in the whole remake is a simple one. You can now change characters, not just after each level, but after each death. This allows for you to change strategies. Like say you pick Peach, but oops, I forgot this was a digging level, and Peach sucks at that, so you die. You can now pick Toad and breeze through, it's great. Finally, the slot machine minigame is totally overhauled. I'm faithful because that thing fucking sucked in the original. The slots still move fast, but not to the point of making winning damn near random like before. You can definitely time your A presses to get a full row. Speaking of which, there's a new Lucky 7 thrown in the mix, and tripling that gives you a whopping 10 lives. Also, when you match the first two, they add like a little drum roll making you more nervous to get the third match. Great changes to such a lame part of the original. And that's about it for Mario 2. So let's finish off with Mario 3. Mario 3 is probably the standout title of this collection in today's context. I say today's context because back when it came out, of course the Lost Levels wasn't seen anywhere else, but anyway, I say this because it's easily the biggest of the games, and Mario 3 was already the best NES Mario, don't at me. A remake like this only serves to refine what was already there. I think this is probably the best way to play the game, as it's the original, but nicer. That being said though, as always, there's changes. Let's check those out. And yet again, another beautifully remade title screen with a genre-shifted underwater theme. This time it sounds like a big band performance, very jazzy. It fits in with Mario 3's whole stage play aesthetic, which, by the way, it's an aesthetic, an art choice if you will. Mario 3 is 100% canon and I will die on that hill anyway. Each level now starts with text saying Mario Start or Luigi Start, just like Mario World. Like Mario 2, Mario 3's look is entirely faithful to the original, just upscaling what was there before. Mario doesn't even have gloves in this, like how he didn't in the original. That's how faithful we're talking. They made its black overalls blue, and Fire Mario's back to his old color scheme. Color limitations are a thing of the past once more. The backgrounds are the best in the whole collection, I think. Look at how much depth is in these caves, or how cool the lighting in the airship levels are, for example. It's insanely beautiful. One thing I kinda miss though, even though it's really inconsequential, is the little white power-up outlines in the sky. I don't know, they added to the stage play thing. Felt kinda like some art kids painted it for their school play or something. The music isn't anything crazy. They're great covers, don't get me wrong, but there's no flair like Mario 1's. Just the original tracks with more instrument sounds, basically. The steel drum is back from the overworld theme though, big fan of that steel drum. The blocks that Pile Driver Goombas hide in now shimmer like all the other blocks, making it really harder to tell which one is fake. Boos and Rotodiscs now have this cool ass looking trailing effect following them. Also, all coins spin now. Sometimes I play Mario 3 and in the back of my brain hole I'm just like, huh, I thought the coins spun in this game. Guess I misremembered. Or, I never noticed the coins spin in this game. Weird. Turns out the game fucking gaslit me because some do and some just don't. In the HUD, the coin counter strangely used to have a $sign, so now it's a coin symbol. Doors, complete with an opening and closing animation. They used to just be a door hole. Here's a cool one. When you lose one of the suits, you see it fly off Mario instead of just poofing. Not sure which I prefer, because both are pretty cool. Like Mario 1, Luigi now has a unique sprite to account for his big-ass head, and something else cool, all the King's transformations are now different. To compare, World 1's was a dog, now he's a Cobrat for Mario 2. World 2 was a spider, now is a hoopster for Mario 2, which yeah, I mean that's a spider too, so now it's more Mario. World 3 turned into a spike, now he's a Dino Rhino from World for some reason. World 4 was a dinosaur, but now he's Donkey Kong Jr.? What? Is he a gorilla that resembles DK Jr.? Nope, he's just him. I didn't realize Donkey Kong Jr. was like an alter ego anime protagonist this whole time. World 5's was a vulture, now an albatross from Mario 2, which also kind of makes sense. World 6 was a seal, and now he's a Monty Mole from World. And the most interesting one to me is World 7's, who in the original was a piranha plant, now is a Yoshi. And that's cute, it's a Yoshi. Nothing weird on its own, but look at the Yoshi sprite. A dead ringer for a sprite from Yoshi's Island. But that game didn't come out for another 2 years. Was that sprite based on this way more obscure source, or was Yoshi's Island in development for that long? Peach's letters come with a cute, regal little jingle. Reminds me of the start of Mario 64. The animation from the letters is now gone though, it's now just a little wink. Bowser's letter also now has a little portrait of Bowser. And finally for presentation, they added some other little tunes where there weren't before. Like when you lose a slot minigame, or when you get the third card but it doesn't match. Once again, you start with 5 lives instead of 3. The little warp pipe levels where you warp across a map don't have time limits anymore, and a lot of the small level tweaks that were only in the international versions are now in all regions. For example, this door in one fortress was moved over slightly. It was a little harder in the original Japanese version. They also made it so that one Toad house in World 6 gives you a Hammer Bros suit, which that house originally only did in the Japanese version, which is pretty fucking nice because there's like barely any Hammer Bros suits in the original. The battle mode, initially only playable in 2-player mode, now has its own option in the menu, so you and a friend can just play it whenever. They added a new item to it as well, the question mark mushroom. It can either make players swap forms or swap places. Definitely love me some chaos in multiplayer games. And that's all for Mario 3. I think, without a doubt, this is the best way to play the game. With so much visual polish and a lot of the glitches patched out, there's just no way you can go wrong with it. Super Mario All-Stars is a charming piece of Mario history. It's got so much personality, even besides the remakes themselves. Yeah, maybe I'm not the hugest fan of how Mario 1 looks, but all of these 4 remakes are fantastic ways to play them. I'd say if you've never played the Mario series before, somehow, this game isn't a bad place to start. It's also really neat because a lot of Super Nintendos were actually bundled with this game and Super Mario World, giving you a whopping 5 whole main series Mario games. That rocks. But fuck that, why not just put Mario World in the cartridge? Well, Nintendo thought the same thing, because in 1994 they came out with Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World. Look, the title screen even has Yoshi now. This re-release, as you can probably guess, has Mario World as a 5th game. This version has a few differences from the original too. Luigi now has different sprites like I talked about in the Mario World review, and they even threw in an extra save file. In '93, Nintendo Power had a contest to promote the first Mario All-Stars, giving out a patch to the first loser who could prove that they beat World 9. Well shit, I should get like 6 of those things by now. In 2010, to celebrate Super Mario Bros. 25th anniversary, Nintendo put out Super Mario All-Stars Limited Edition. This was a Wii disc that was literally just a ROM of Mario All-Stars. No world, no new UI, literally just Mario All-Stars, but on a different console. It could have just been on the Virtual Console, very strange choice. Weird childhood memory that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I remember being 10 years old in 2010 and reading Nintendo.com about this re-release and being excited. Then a few minutes later going into the kitchen and seeing a copy of it, and then it was just mine. And I had it for like years, until I sold it when it was still rare. When I was a kid, my grandfather bought me cool like Mario shit from Amazon every now and then, and my memory is generally pretty hazy, but like, isn't that so dreamlike? It's really fucking weird to think about. The Wii version is no longer rare though, because it got a re-release as part of Nintendo Selects, basically Nintendo's newer version of Player's Choice, giving the game a price cut. Game collecting can be kinda like the stock market sometimes. And finally, in tandem with the 35th anniversary, Nintendo put All-Stars on Switch Online. The 35th anniversary also brought us a different Mario All-Stars game, but we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, aren't we? And that's all I can think to say about Mario All-Stars. Definitely a nice little collection of remakes, especially for '93. That shit was cool as fuck back then, I'm sure. And that's all from me. I've been your pilot, Sprited. I just got called Spirited again a few minutes ago. And thank you for watching my video. I got a Twitter and a webcomic. Ciao. Seriously, where the fuck are you seeing this extra eye?